Here's part 2. Hope you enjoy it.
We talked to Global Work and Travel. We didn't get the job, so then we were on to our next opportunity. Again, there was like a 5-day gap or something, and we had 2 opportunities. One, if we did get the first job, then we would say no to the other job. Like it was an interview in another place, we'd have to go do the next day. But we got the job on the spot in the interview for this next opportunity, which was the energy place. I talked a little bit in the last video. I had a little picture of some words, and so you already know how I feel about this job, but I'm just going to get into why we feel how we do about this job. So, first of all, the interview kind of sounds like they're trying to sell it to us more. It's not really like testing us more.
She wasn't interviewing us, she was pitching us the product, basically.
It was just
pitching us the job.
Pitching us the job. It was a really weird situation, but she knew she was very good at her job at pitching the job. And so she pitched us, and one of the biggest part of the pitches was, hey, there's travel, we get to travel around Australia, and you get to, the main part of the job is selling energy, so you can travel around selling energy. And so you can meet new places, we pay for accommodation, you get tons of sales because a lot of people don't or want to talk when they're in the country and stuff. So we were super excited, and they said make it sound like it's easy money. It was a bit sketchy because it was a contract job, so they could kind of hire you and then fire you whenever they wanted. And also the wage wasn't minimum wage, which is $16 an hour, which is super high. It was lower, it was $100 per day, and we were working like 10 to 6. Not to mention, from where we were staying, it was about a 2-hour ride to get there. Well, we had to leave 2 hours early because the buses left every like 8:30 and then 9:30. And if we took the 8:30 one, then we'd be 50 minutes early, and if we took the 9:30 one, we'd be 10 minutes late. So we always had to take the 8:30 one. So we were putting so much of our time out for this job that we're only making $100 a day. So right there, it wasn't a great start, but we were positive, and we knew we needed money, and it was an experience that we had never had before, so we were open to it. So the first day comes along. Well, actually, the interview, we succeeded. I think some people didn't, but our previous experience, I guess, in sales and our confidence in the job, and we were good at speaking English helped us get the job. So we got paid $100 a day, which wasn't great, and we also got paid $35 on top of that for every sale, which we had commission. So that's not that bad. We thought we could get a couple sales, it'd be fine. We can work up to at least minimum wage, and even much more if we're doing good. We started the next day. We were pretty nervous because we wanted to get sales. We knew the importance of getting sales. We were dropped off, and we each went with someone that's the 2 best people actually at the time for selling.
Yeah. So on the first day, we didn't actually have to make any sales. We were just watching. So it was just kind of nerve-wracking watching the process. We didn't have to really worry about getting sales that day, which was nice.
It was good. My guy, Jake, he got 0 sales that day. Avery, on the other hand.
Yeah, the girl I was with, her name's Courtney, and she got 4 sales, it was kind of, looking back on it, was a bad experience for me, because then after that day I was really confident about getting sales because she easily got 4 sales in one day, so I thought it would be easier. But saying that, it was her first day getting sales in the whole week,
So it's really just hit and miss of a day. I think your mood has to be the right way, and the people have to be responding the right way. A lot of factors. Obviously, it worked out for Courtney that day. It didn't work out for Jake that day. But we were excited. I felt like I had some. Obviously, we have different personality traits, and I felt like I had some traits that might help me with sales compared to Jake. So I'd be fine for the next day. Even though Jake's doing great, that day I felt like there's sometimes maybe I could have got the sale if I was talking a little differently. I was wrong. So the job is really going door to door and about like plus 30-degree weather and trying to get people to sell to change their energy company. We tried not to be like typical salesmen. We tried to do we wear casual clothes, and we did some greasy stuff, honestly. Like I think all salesmen do. One of those things was we were encouraged to dump out our water bottles before every single time door. So then we could come to the door and be like, oh, I'm so hot. And then they'd feel bad for us, and then they'd fill up our water bottle, and then we all of a sudden are talking, and then I sell the pitch, and then all of a sudden it's a lot better chance you're going to get a sale because they kind of sympathize for you, which I think is just terrible, but that's how sales work. So just so you know, we were also encouraged, do not leave until they've said no 3 times. So for all you people out there, say no 3 times fast, and we will leave. Theoretically. I think some people would still stay. I, on the other hand, took an approach where I just kind of took no's the first time. I didn't want to be too pushy, because that's just not... Avery and I both did that, because it's not really who we are. We just respect people's decisions. I don't want to annoy you guys, so I wasn't just like them.
I don't think we're really cut out for that kind of a job, because we put ourselves in the people's shoes who we're talking to, and we wouldn't want to be at the door having an argument with somebody asking them to leave and they just won't leave. Like, I said no the first time I want them to leave, so that's how we took it, and that's not what our boss wanted us to do. And so on the first day, the boss came around and she did some training with me that day, and she was going to houses and I was just watching her. And this one girl, I felt so bad for her. She told us that she was on her way to work. She was a nurse working the night shift, obviously, and us kept her at the door for probably 5 minutes. I bet she said no 10 times, 10 different ways, and she still just kept going and going and going. And she did that for like 3 houses, and
it just shows, and she has the best sales out of everyone, and it just shows just how you have to be to get sales, and I just think it's terrible. I'm glad at that point we kind of realized this is not for us really, but we had a positive outlook, and we realized maybe we'll get better at this, maybe our approach will work. So the first day on our own, we walked around the whole day, we didn't get a sale, but a couple of people told me to come back, and one of the people told me to come back was this wife, and she said she was really interested in the product, but her husband's not home, and she wants him to be there to make the decision, which is very common, but she was very interested, and she said, my husband, he'll just say no to you really quickly, he's probably going to be rude, and I said, it's okay, that's my job, try to convince people. So anyways, I come back, later in the day, she says, oh, he's not here, which is weird, and I come back again, 20 minutes later, and then he pulls up, and he's just smashed, he's just so drunk, and I'm like, oh gosh, this isn't good, because in our contract, we're not allowed to sign off drunk people. So I'm like, oh, and then he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like laughing. He's like, sees my little Canadian tag. He's like, you're Canadian? And then I tell him like my little pitch, and he's like, you know what, man? If it's gonna save me money, just do it. And I'm like, what? And then the wife starts like convincing him out of it, like you have to pay monthly and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? You're on my side. What are you doing? So then I try to convince the wife again, and the wife's like, oh, okay, I guess it's a good idea. And I'm actually saving you money. I'm not BSing you, and I actually was. I wouldn't lie. The way that worked out, I was saving the money, so I wanted to make the sale, and I truly believed in that, and I told them that. And so anyways, I ended up making the sale with them. It was a gong show, but I made the sale with a girl who was sober completely, so it was okay, and there's a 10-day cooling off period, which they can cancel anytime. So theoretically, if they did, I'm not sure if they did, want to cancel, they could, which is good. So I was super excited. First day on my own, I got a sale. Everyone was super stoked when I got in the vehicle. I felt bad for Avery because she didn't get a sale, but she was super motivated actually to get a sale the next day. The Saturday rolls around the next day, and we go out, and it gets cut really short the day, and we end up making no sales.
So the day is supposed to be, we're supposed to arrive at the neighborhood around 12, and we're not supposed to leave until 6. We have to stop door knocking at 6. They pick us up at 6:30. So this day was Saturday, super hot day, and so we get out there at about 12:30. We're a bit late that day, like everybody is. And then we are leaving at, 3?
Like 3, yeah.
Like 3. So she expected in half a day, on her second day ever, to have 2 sales, 1 sale or 2 sales in 3 hours. Yeah.
So obviously that did not happen. We got no sales, and that day, 2 people got hired before us, a couple actually, just like us, and they had no sales until that day, except for the guy did have a sale, but he didn't put the transaction through properly, and they were taking...
Common, easy mistake. If it's your first sale, you're so excited, it's so easy to forget.
So the day I got a sale, on Friday. This other guy got a sale, but he didn't put the transaction through properly. And that was his, he got hired one day before us, and he was with his girlfriend, a couple. So that Saturday was his, he'd work one more day than us, so he'd work 2.5 days on his own. And they got taken beside the van and just got fired right there. So, just because they hadn't got a sale in 2.5 days, a proper sale. So at this point, we're like, this is really sketchy, that's so unprofessional, we're scared, we're like, that's one more day for Avery and she's going to get fired, maybe 2 days tops for me. But we're going on this road trip on Sunday, so you know, we're like, this is a good time to learn, that's what they advertised, that's what they told us in the interview, that's a good place to learn, so we're excited, and the road trip's a week with free accommodation, and so we're like, this is great, we're going to see Australia, everything's going to be fine, maybe we'll get really good. We were just trying to look at the positive. But at that point, we're like, are we really going on the road trip? So we asked, just make sure, are we going on the road trip? And she said, yeah, for sure, guys, why wouldn't you be? And we're like, oh yeah, we had no reason not to believe her. So that night, we go get our groceries for the road trip. We're getting super excited. We're just looking at the positives. We go to sleep. The next day, at 11 o'clock, we're supposed to leave on the road trip at 2. We had a call, and Avery gets a call and says, no, you're not going on the road trip anymore. Sorry, it's just not going to work. We're taking these 3 guys who are new, who have never worked before, only one day with other people. They've never been on their own before, and they're taking them over Avery, obviously, and other people. But they said Ryland can come, but I'll understand if he doesn't want to come because you're not going. So she hangs up the phone, and we're just like, what the hell are you doing? That's 3, like, we're thinking to ourselves, that's 3 days before, 3 hours before the road trip, and you're doing that to us? Like, I was just so pissed. I almost sent a really mean text to her, but I had the self-control and just said, hey, it's not going to work out for me, I'm not going. So at this point, we're like, screw them. I don't want to work with someone that's that professional. Maybe for that week, we're not going to get any work. So it means we're going to have to wait a week, and then maybe if Avery has to get a sale on the first day, or she can get fired, and I have to make a sale within that first day or second day, or else I'm going to get fired. So that's just not healthy. It's not worth waiting around for a week. So we tell our company, Club Work and Travel, and they understand, and we're just like, you know what? We're spending a lot of money on food. We're not making any money now. We need to go and change things up, or else we're going to run out of money, and it's going to be really bad. That's the end of part 2. Check out part 3 for more.